Good morning. Hello, everyone, or whatever time zone you are in. Hello. I am back. It looks like some people are starting to hear the message. Videos are definitely getting some visibility and even visibility from the people that I'm trying to talk to about this that I wanted help from. And so I wanted to give an update. And I also really wanted to pull out this piece because this is the crux of what I feel is one of many, but the biggest issue within within an MLM within the financial industry. And it doesn't have to be this way. So we are going to talk today about what I experienced when I went forward to ask for more product and financial training for the industry that I was in. Um, and so I just again, I'm actually going to just offer a little prayer, a little energy to say my attempt here to get all of this heard is not anything more than to continue to help the clients that were put in the incorrect product for their goals by the team lead of Team Inspiration. And as of right now, I have gotten three of us our money back from Nationwide because I provided tons of evidence that confirmed that this was going on. And I have been like ringing the alarm bell as loud as I can to WFG, to Nationwide, saying an audit needs to be done because I know without a shadow of a doubt that this woman has been placing people in this product without knowing how it's actually going to perform because she wasn't running the illustrations correctly for these people. And on top of that, it's the wrong product for their goals. So, right, she's been placing them in a product that doesn't fit their goals based on Nationwide's own marketing material to us and to clients. Not only that, but then she's been teaching people that they can use this IUL product in a way that would actually make sense for the other product Nationwide had, which is called the accumulator, not the protector, which is what she put people in. And I've been running into a dead wall, and that's why I'm going to continue to come forth and get as much visibility for this as possible. I'm taking my own time. I'm not getting paid for this. I have no hopes of recovering any of my efforts in a cost of money for this, but it's because I feel like I have a moral obligation at this point to sound the alarm. And it's really sad to me that WFG especially has not heard me in understanding the gravity of this situation. I got a very, surfacey response back to my request for them to take action further than what they have. Honestly, they have done nothing to help me and my friends and nothing to help the people that they are servicing, which is a crying shame that this company is not honoring what we're teaching people in the middle America. These middle America, we don't have tons of disposable income to be throwing away in products in the first place. So I started putting things in when I noticed that this was really going south on February 12th. And I, again, had to put pressure on WFG this last week when I finally got word back about my two friends that got their refund back. I said, WFG, look, this is what Nationwide is doing. There's a precedence here. This needs to be paid attention. You need to do an audit. And I got just a very pat answer of, well, let me check with my supervisors. And then when she checked with her supervisor, she came back and said, well, we take this very seriously and we'll do our due diligence and make sure that things are falling in line. It was kind of like, go away, you're a nuisance, we don't want to deal with this, right? And then on top of it, this old team that I was on is doing all of this stuff to try to get me to shut up. And I'm not going to shut up. So you can continue to try, but until you take responsibility for what you have done and help people and do the right thing here, I will not shut up. So what I experienced when I asked for more product training, I know that I asked repeatedly from the time I was on board because I was passionate about making sure, again, my ex husband was in this industry. I have a business background. I know how highly regulated it is. And if you don't have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, like you can have compliance coming after you, right? And not only that, but it's the morally right thing to do when you're working with people's root chakra, tribal energy for survival on this planet. You need to make sure you know what you're doing and that you're not taking this haphazardly. But there's just this scene of like, the whole idea is that you're supposed to trust your upline. You're supposed to trust your SMD or your EVC or whatever they're called. I can't even get the terms down. Blindly, because they have the experience and the industry. So you don't need, you can go do the research on your own, but it's not really highly encouraged. It's kind of mentioned a few times, but it's not super highly encouraged. And when things started to fall apart, it was mainly because I started listening to my downline, and they were saying, Holly, we love, again, this mission. We believe in it. We feel passionate about it, but we really still don't understand what we're doing. We're taught repeatedly how to go out, recruit, but what are we recruiting them to? Because it's not there. There's no depth. There's no substance to what we're recruiting them to. We're not getting the financial education for ourselves, so we don't even know how to talk about it with other people in order to pitch it. And so I had to take a step back and be like, okay, well, putting a big hat on and looking at it from all sides, this is your own business, and you are responsible, in essence, for training yourself on things you don't understand. And on the other side, this is a financial industry business. You need to have the training from the company that you are representing in order to make sure that you're in compliance with all of this stuff and doing it as you need to be doing it. There needs to be a balance. Like, I could see that. And so I literally spent a whole week taking as many notes as I could, talking to my downline, my friends, about what was going on for them. And this was the common thing. We just don't understand about what we're doing. We're not like you, Holly. We don't know where to go. And I was so busy, I couldn't necessarily develop training for them, because that's, again, part of the business system within WFG, is to they slowly eat away at your time. Like, the concept that this is your business is BS. They slowly start to suck you in, eat up more of your time, especially if you show potential, because then they put you on leadership, and there's like all these meetings for leadership, and then you're supposed to show up for all the BPMs, and it's like, then you're supposed to be talking to your downline constantly every day, encouraging them, talking at them so that they do what they're supposed to do, not talking with them. You're not supposed to be taking back their feedback because they're broke people. That's a huge part of what I got when I went to ask for more training. And then people are busy because they're told that they can do this business on the side 10 to 12 hours a week, which is, again, BS. You can't do it with that little of time. Like, literally 2/3 of your time will be taken for meetings. Meetings alone will be taken up for that 10 to 12 hours. So you don't really have a lot of time left over to go do the product training if it's not given to you during those 2/3 of your week meetings that take up the 10 to 12 hours. So that's part of my complaint. So I went to my upline after a week of taking all these notes, and I did it very, very intentionally, right? I said, okay, I'm starting to see, well, hold on, I have to actually redo this email. So this was this was earlier in the week before I went to my downline, but I'd started to talk to the different people, or to the different people on my team. And I had told my upline, saying, you know what, we're going to go to this product training, even though I know you have your own training that's going to be about how to get more recruits and net recruits and all those different things. But we feel like we need product training, or I feel like I need that. And I gave my team the option. So I got this response back. Good morning, exclamation point, which is some of that positive, toxic positivity that the anti-MLM community is so good about bringing out. There it is, right there. These things can be brought up during leadership meetings. If appropriate, we will advertise and promote to the team. If they aren't booking appointments and building, they have no one to share these great products with. And if they aren't even licensed, it doesn't make sense at all. Knowledge without action is useless. People aren't motivated by products. They are motivated by results. Doing a personal phone zone with teammates would be 100 times more beneficial than a product training. I'm going to read that again. Doing a personal phone zone, which means I get on the phone and I call, all of my downlines, top 25s, or not all of them, but we start making phone calls and trying to book appointments to get them on the first presentation, which is all about recruiting them. And so you just start this funnel again. I am told that that would be 1,000 times or 100 times more beneficial than product training. And in one of my videos yesterday, I shared part of the reason I know I had success is because I actually understood the products and what they could do for people and believed in them. And that infused my ability to talk to people to get results. So putting the cart before the horse is not going to work. You can't just promise people on empty products. I don't even know where I'm going with that statement, but you can't just promise people that they're going to get results when they don't even know what the heck they are doing. So that was early in the week when everything started to unfold. And so I started, doing those phone calls that I just mentioned. I did more and more of those, found out that this was the common theme on my team, very calculated, very intentionally. I put together kind of a little way to approach. So I thought I could maybe get heard by my upline when we had the conversation. So I asked her for, a meeting. Got online. I started with, why have you put all this time? Because she was pouring her time into me. And it was because I was getting results that I would get more of her time, right? And because I would get more of her time, supposedly I would get more results. And so I just asked her, I'm like, why are you pouring all this time into me? What is behind that? And she's like, honestly, I still think you can be my first SMD. Now, SMD is the kind of bottom of the gold standard at WFG. It means Senior Marketing Director. And in the terms of the agreement, that means you basically have agents, you have ownership of your own agency. You can run your team as you want. Up until that point, you're basically underneath your SMD, and you can't really run your team how you want. You have to follow them. You have to be able to replicate everything so that it's easy for people to pick up. Again, this is part of the beauty of the business system, but also the fault in it. Because if you can't customize it, anyways, we're not going to go there. But so the SMD, she believed, even though I'd only been on the team at this point for 6 months, only been licensed for 5 months, or about 4.5, and I'd only really been on my own for about 2 months, right? Going out there, starting to write my own business. And this is really why she let me loose. I got myself educated and why all of this is unfolding. And so I said, okay, great. Thank you so much for that trust in me. I really appreciate that. It kind of still blew my mind that there have been people on the team with so much more experience, so much more understanding of this company, and I thought of the industry. And unfortunately, that's just not true. Because the lack of training was there, I started to see even other people, senior people on the team, do training for us as field trainers. And honestly, it kind of horrified me because I felt like they really didn't understand. They could give the common presentations that, we had set out by RFM for us. But when it came down to really detailed questions about the products, oh, that's just technical. We don't need to answer that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I went to her, we got into this conversation. She, her energy completely changed. I had it recorded at one point, but I couldn't even watch it. So I think I got rid of it, unfortunately. And she started to say, and I said, I'm running into a really huge problem here. And the problem is my team, I agree with them. They need more financial education. They need more product training to understand before they're ready to go and do this other step of actually getting people to come and sit at the presentation. And I want to develop a team structure or a training structure for that. I'd already started developing it because remember, I'd been keeping all these notes about what I would change once I got to the SMD level. And I would like a chance to be able to present that to you. And she's like, well, you can do it, but I pretty much know what the upline of, the owner of RFM, I don't know if that's the correct term, but I know what she's going to say. And I was like, before you put that energy out there, please let me get this together so that you can see it and have it presented to her. Like, allow me to do these steps so that I had the best chance of making my case. We got off the Zoom. Unfortunately, she did not listen to me, and I didn't know it for a couple hours. I had turned my phone off so I could work on this proposal heart and soul. And I was putting it together like a 6-class module for training that would go more in depth so that people had a basis of what they were doing in the financial industry. And in between that time, and when I looked at my phone again about 2 hours later, the upline of the, again, I don't know if it's the right term, but the EVCC or something like that of RFM, the owner of RFM, had called me. And then she'd also texted me like, hey, call me as soon as possible. And I knew that my upline had disrespected my wishes. And now I'm going to have to be on this phone call with this woman. So I said, okay, I apologize for not responding earlier because I want to give her the respect that she's due. That was still at that point until after the conversation. And so we got on the phone a little bit later, and right away she starts going in at me and she's like, well, Kim's really worried about you. So for those of you that haven't heard, I extricated myself from a life of toxic relationships, abuse, control, manipulation, all that kind of stuff. So I've done a lot of research. I have spent hundreds of hours educating myself in therapy, in recovery classes. And so I know when people are using their languaging and their energy in a way that is meant for you to question your reality so that they can grab a little bit more power and control over you. And so right away, my alarm bells went off because that type of comment is meant for you to question your reality so that you question them and be like, well, why? Right there, if I would have done that, I would have given her reality justification and I would have taken power out of my reality and given it to her. But I wouldn't do that because I knew that there was no reason to be concerned about me. I knew my reality was solid and firm, and so she couldn't get it out of me. So she starts asking me what was going on, and I would start to share, and she would talk over me. Like I would try to share, talk over me. The whole hour and a half conversation was her talking at me in order to tell me exactly what I needed to do with my downline. She said I could not trust my downline because they were broke people. And she did not mean broke as in financial only. Literally, I am an intuitive energy reader. Her energy was all about they are broke people. You can't listen to them. So it was a double meaning, right? It was a Freudian slip. And she came back and she's like, no, I mean this. And I'm like, no, I know what you meant. I could feel what you meant. And she just kept pounding at me to say, you can't talk with your people. You have to talk at them. You have to lead them, Holly. And I just wholeheartedly disagree with that approach. And the conversation went on and on and on. Like I said, she talked over me every opportunity. She'd ask me a question. I'd start to say a little bit, and then she'd just talk over me. She never listened to me. And then the conversation started to get demeaning. Well, you're just an Uber driver. Okay, y'all, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I not only switched universities, studied abroad, went took a semester off from college, but I graduated from Purdue's business management school with honors, with a minor in 3.5 years. Okay, so one of those semesters was at DePaul University, where I'd gotten a scholarship. Okay, and I know in the MLM world they don't honor an education, but this is in the business industry. That's what the industry we were in. I had done finance classes. I had looked at accounting. Like I knew my stuff, right? Not only that is I chose to be an Uber driver so that I could support my kids and still be a mom because I was earning more money doing that than trying to climb some corporate ladder. And I'm an entrepreneur. So to say that I'm just an Uber driver is like, it was so demeaning. Like, she didn't know me. She's never spent time with me getting to know me. Like, we went out to dinner once here in Nashville when her and her family were here, but she didn't really ask me any questions to get to know me. She had no idea who I was, what my drive was. And to top it off, her and her husband were asking me to do a presentation for their full-timers, for their team, for Team Revolution, to train them on what I was doing to get the results I was getting. So to come back and say, oh, you're just an Uber driver, I knew again that was a tactic to get me to acquiesce to her wishes and to listen to her. And then she tried to get me to say, she kept saying, like, this other bigwig female in the industry almost walked out the door because she was listening to her downline, yada, yada, yada. And oh my gosh, this woman, the head of Team Revolution, thank God, came in, swept up this woman, gave her what she needed, talked at her to tell her, you can't listen to those people. You got to talk at them. You got to lead them. And thank God this person listened to me, because now she's $450,000, $500,000 earner. I've saved her life. I'm the God of all this. That was the energy behind it, right? And I'm just sitting here listening like, okay, this is just an interesting experiment at this point. I have come to her and to my upline to ask for product training because I believe in it, not just my downline. And now I am getting demeaned. I'm getting told that I don't know what I need, and that I need to listen to her. She's stealing my energy little by little because I won't acquiesce to her. And then she was like, well, you can just be kind of a little, mom and pop shop if you want, kind of that energy of like, well, I think you need to dream bigger because that benefits her, right? And because I had that potential, let's be honest, I had that potential to be huge because I was a go-getter and I was having results in the first 2 months that I was on the team, or 1 month I was on the team licensed. Oh, you can just be a little, mom and pop shop. You don't have to have a big team, but the energy behind that was like, but why would you want to do that? That's selling yourself short. That's the energy behind everything that they share of the whole thing of dream bigger, dream bigger, dream bigger. So yeah, that is what I got when I went to them to ask for more product training and financial education training, which is what we promised people in order to do a job that needed to be done. Because I saw that if that had been built into the structure more, maybe my upline wouldn't have been putting people for at least 2 years in the wrong product for their goals, educating them how to use it as if it was a different product, and causing this huge issue that it seems like no one is concerned about, like, except people. I mean, I don't want to say that. No one within the WFG structure is concerned about. They're actually trying to now dismiss me and, of course, cancel culture me, whatever that is, hate speech. I'm getting text messages. The agents that are put in this product, I did this video yesterday, agents that I was able to confirm that were put in this product, their family members, their friends were put in this product. 2 out of the 3 people I've contacted have now said they don't like what I'm saying about their upline. They don't want to have anything to do with this. And they're being asked to put their upline above their own financial home, their own moral and possibly even legal obligation to help people at this point to do the right thing. And it's wrong. I will continue to say that till I'm blue in the face. This approach is wrong. And if you're part of WFG, do not take your upline's word hook, line, and sinker. Do not follow them blindly. I cannot say that enough. If you've built a team there, you might want to do a little bit more due diligence if you followed your upline blindly to make sure that the products really do fit their goals. I don't want to say this is across the board happening. This was not an intentional move by my upline. I wholeheartedly believe that. But once she was, informed that this was the issue, she tried to brush it under the rug. And that's what I have a huge issue with. And that is built in to the culture of RFM. So yeah, just a little bit more on this. If you're hearing this and you're concerned, you definitely feel free to reach out to me. I do know these nationwide products pretty forwards and backwards at this point in how they work. The two products are the accumulator and the protector. The accumulator is meant for cash accumulation and for kind of that alternative to a 401k or an IRA, alternative for your retirement years, where the protector is really about a legacy transfer. It's protecting your principal for legacy transfer. Two very different goals. They work very differently. And if you try to use the protector as people have been educated for the accumulator, it's not going to go well for you. The policy is not going to perform very well for you. The other thing that really disheartened me is when I brought all of this up, again, this is more on, the personal side, not so much the training side, that, my mentor, my upline ignored me for about 3 months when I continually asked her to help me and my clients. And yet I saw her starting to use the accumulator correctly. And that was like a huge alarm. I'm like, oh God, so she's hearing me. That's great. But she obviously knows that something wasn't right with what she was doing with the protector. So it was a little subliminal acceptance that she had done something wrong and putting people on the protector. But she ignored me, and then she attempted to lie to me about my own goals in an email so that she could show. A friend's case came up to them, and then the head of RFM, when I was on a phone call with her, said a couple other very alarming things that just really, again, huge red flags, right? One, oh, don't worry, Holly, you're still gonna get cash accumulation. So I did the illustrations, keeping all the apples to apples that I could, because they are two different policies, so they work differently. But I did payments for the premiums up until age 75, and both of these policies the same. I did the distribution for 10 years for both the policies with the same amount of money. And then I looked at how the policies would perform. Well, first and foremost, the protector at the number of for the premium that I put in, that I'd been given by my upline, was actually still going to lapse because it wasn't enough, where the accumulator would not lapse. And part of her reasoning for putting me in the protector is because she thought it was cheaper. And it would have lapsed even if I would have never taken distribution. So that was very alarming to me. Second thing is, there was $1 million difference between these two policies when they were used exactly the same, because the policies perform differently, and we were not aware of that because she wasn't doing her research. As the lead of this agency, she wasn't doing her research. So for the upline of RFM now to tell me that I was still going to get cash accumulation, well, yes, but I could show you that it was going to be $1 million difference. Not only that, is the accumulator would, of course, allow me to take out more for retirement and still end up with better cash accumulation than the protector because of the way it's structured. Not only that happened in that conversation with the upline of RFM, but she also said, your upline is now doing more training and retraining herself with the nationwide products because of you. If she needed to do that, why? That was my question. If she knew what she was doing, if she was really putting people in this product correctly, why would the upline of RFM tell me that my upline was retraining herself on products for nationwide? Alarm bells, y'all. And the last piece of this puzzle, showing that this is a huge issue, the training issue is a huge issue. So my friends went to my upline who had put them in this product and said, can you please show us the difference between these two products that Holly's made aware of? Now, they didn't know how to ask the question correctly. What this upline did is then she presented the two side-by-side comparisons of these IULs with no distributions, with payments all the way up till age 120, in order to make the Protector 2 product look better for them. So they would still think, even though I'm over here telling them it's not the right product, well, she showed them that it has. 2 months after she's changed her, flagship product to the accumulator, not the Protector anymore, and 2 months after she knew how the Protector would act if you start taking cash distribution. So Either she wasn't training herself accordingly to really understand the product still, or she did that with full knowledge, knowing that it would make the Protector 2 look better in order to convince my friends that they were in the right product. This isn't right. So I'm going to ask you now, if you're watching this video, to share this far and wide. People need to know what's going on. Again, I can only speak for the team I'm on. It was Team Inspiration underneath the umbrella of Team Revolution or Revolution Financial Management. When I first joined Revolution Financial Management, I was not made aware that it was part of WFG, so I couldn't do my full research. And I don't know. I mean, I've heard of other teams that do a better job of training their people in the financial industry first and foremost, and then doing the product training better, because it's complicated and people need to understand this. So I think that's it. That's a long enough video. Please share far and wide. Please help get this message out. If you need help looking at your product, let me know, and I will do what I can. All right, y'all. So much love. Bye. End.